let's discuss Captain America's brand new Marvel Rivals costume, Captain Klyntar. This costume is taken right out of the comic books and gives us the perfect chance to talk about this Venomized Cap's major role in the Edge of Venomverse, Venomverse War Stories, and the Venomverse main event. He's mysterious at first, commanding by nature, but quickly becomes the driving force in the war between the Venom symbiotes and a terrifying new creature, the Poisons. Whether you call him Captain America, Captain Venom, Captain Klyntar, or just the guy with the symbiote-covered shield, one thing is clear. This version of Steve Rogers is intense. For simplicity, we're just going to call him Captain America from here on out. Now, before I get into the meat of the story, I have a quick question for you. Who is your favorite Marvel Rivals character, and what is your go-to costume for them? Drop it in the comments. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go! Edge of Venomverse is essentially Marvel's way of exploring what would happen if some of our favorite heroes and anti-heroes bonded with the Venom symbiote in their own unique universes. Each of the 5 issues focuses on a different character. You've got X-23, Robbie Reyes as Ghost Rider, Old Man Logan, Deadpool, and Gwenpool. Each one becomes a host in their own unique, chaotic way. But there's a pattern. Each of these characters gets approached by someone familiar. A shadowy figure cloaked in stars and stripes, but now covered in black tendrils. That's Captain America, bonded with the Venom symbiote. He appears at the end of each issue like Marvel's twisted version of Nick Fury, recruiting these new symbiote hosts into something bigger, something darker, something he simply calls the war. He doesn't explain much, just tells them they're needed, and if Captain America says there's a war coming, you listen. In Venomverse War Stories, we get our first glimpse into what this war actually looks like. Venomized Doctor Strange is meditating, floating in a mystic circle, when he's interrupted by a severely injured Captain America. When I say injured, I mean wrecked. He's clearly been through hell. He tells Strange his entire squad was ambushed by the Poisons, strange parasitic creatures that target and consume both symbiote and host. They're not just enemies, they're predators. Moon Knight was taken, not killed, but consumed, turned into one of the Poisons. Cap is the only survivor. He's shaken, but he's not broken. Strange warns that they need to evacuate. If Moon Knight has become a poison, then he knows the location of their base. But Cap, being Cap, still focuses on the mission. He asks who's left, if there's anyone they could still count on. Doctor Strange reminds him, they have access to infinite universes, but they need to be selective. Doctor Strange doesn't have enough power to summon armies. He needs specialists, stealth operatives, demolition experts, and those with unique skill sets. So we meet even more Venomized characters. Ngozi, a version of Black Panther, the Punisher, Rocket Raccoon, all of them now a part of this growing resistance. All of them are here to stop the spread of the Poisons. Now we get into the main event, Venomverse issues 1 to 5. It all starts when Eddie Brock, bonded with his symbiote from Earth 616, is suddenly pulled across the multiverse into a warped version of New York, Earth 22249. This place is deserted, apocalyptic. He almost immediately comes across a young boy, lost and afraid. And then boom, the kid is obliterated by a black and white shield with symbiote tendrils, which whips back through the air and into the hands of Captain America. Eddie's furious. He just saw a child get taken out, but Cap shuts it down fast. "You don't understand," he says. "If you made contact with that thing, you'd be useless to us." That kid was one of the Poisons. They look innocent, but it's all pretend. They cleverly disguise themselves to lure you in, but once they consume you, it's over. You're gone, the symbiote is gone, all that's left is a puppet, stronger, faster, and deadlier. Cap tells Eddie that Strange's magic is weakening. The teleportation that brought Eddie here almost failed. They're losing control, but Eddie isn't alone. Cap introduces him to the Resistance, a multiversal team of all of the Venomized heroes, anti-heroes, and villains that we've already discussed. They've been conscripted into a war for the very survival of symbiotes, because if the Poisons win, every host across every universe is doomed. But that's when the Poisons strike, and they strike hard. Poison Hulk smashes into their base, a massive, overpowered brute who's already been consumed. Once a poison consumes a symbiote host, it can't consume another. But Hulk doesn't need to consume anyone else. He just smashes. Captain America leaps into action, ordering the team to escape whilst he tries to hold the monster off. Hulk grabs Cap in a crushing grip, lifting him off the ground. It looks like the end, and then Rocket fires a missile into Hulk's face. Cap's fate is left hanging. Did he survive? Was he crushed? No one knows. Later, we find out the truth. Captain America is alive, but captured. He's chained in a basement, strapped down with sonic emitters. One of the few things that can bring a symbiote to its knees. Cap struggles in agony. That's when Sharon Carter appears. She tells him she's here to rescue him, and that she would never abandon him. She even tries to kiss him, but Cap knows better. Just like Eddie and the young boy, he sees through the illusion. Sharon Carter is a poison in disguise. And now that Cap's figured it out, the poison drops the act, and Cap, proud, brave, and stubborn, screams as they consume him. When we see him next, he's changed. This venomized Captain America is gone. In his place is a poison Captain America, standing alongside Poison Scarlet Witch, Poison Sabretooth, Poison Hawkeye. He says he feels stronger, sharper, more focused, and now he's ready to serve a new purpose, to betray the resistance he once stood for. He meets with Poison Doctor Doom, and together they plot their next move, capture Doctor Strange and force him to bring in more Venom hosts from across the multiverse. Unlimited prey for the Poisons, with the intention to expand their army and eventually venture into the multiverse. Now, I don't want to spoil every single detail that happens in the Venomverse event, because honestly, it is 100% worth the read, but here are some highlights for you. Doctor Strange does get captured, Poison's plan is terrifyingly close to succeeding, and in an unexpected twist, Deadpool, now consumed by the Poisons, bring the Poisons a gift. An unexpected ally of the Resistance, Carnage. They restrain Carnage using the same sonic emitters they used on Cap, but they don't know what to do with him. Carnage is a different kind of symbiote to Venom, and this makes him unconsumable and very dangerous to the Poisons. Doctor Doom wants to experiment, and Cap just watches. And then it happens. Poison Deadpool turns on them. He drives his katana through Poison Captain America's chest. Just like that, Steve Rogers is taken down by a teammate he never saw coming. And that is the end of venomized and poisoned Captain America. So whether you call him Cap, Captain Venom, or Captain Klyntar, he fought as a hero, fell as a warrior, and even as a Poison, he carried himself like a leader. But in the end, he paid the price for his strength. And honestly, he might be one of the most tragic and compelling parts of the entire Venomverse event. If you haven't read Venomverse yet, I highly recommend it. The action is wild, the concept is huge, and the character moments, especially Cap's, are unforgettable. I might cover the entire event or the individual characters in more detail later on, so if there's one you want to hear more about, let me know in the comments. And if you're craving more Marvel Rivals content, make sure to check out my Marvel Rivals playlist, or check out the rest of my channel where I upload content just like this every single week. But for the meantime, peace, peace, peace!